Profit is brought to you by StopToShop.com, and they've got plenty of great deals just in time for the holiday season. Noble Victory singles are now in stock, along with a wide range of codes for the online game. As always, click the link in the description to earn 10% off your full order at checkout. When you're looking for cards this holiday season, make the stop at Stop to Shop.
Hey everybody, it's JWittz here from the Pokemon trading card game show Profit, and we have another regionals game for you guys. Now this one's a little bit different in that it's going to feature a game between the juniors. Vince, owner of Yeti Gaming, thank you very much for letting me record all these games, decided that we should give a little bit more exposure to some of the younger age groups, not only because they are lacking in attendance for a lot of our events, it's mostly Masters and juniors and seniors numbers continue to drop, but also that he was confident that some of the best juniors were in the area and that we'd see some surprisingly high-level play from some of our younger players. So to our right, we have Xander P., our junior national champion last year, and he's playing Zoroark, Rosalia, or Roserade, Yanmega, Sunflora, Buffalant, Vileplume, all kinds of things. And we've got Owen on the left, and he is playing a, I believe, Ninetales, Reshiram, Typhlosion. So Owen is very excited. He's playing really quickly. I think that he's just very thrilled with the fact that he's on the camera, and so he is playing very fast, and not always a good thing, especially when, you're trying to play against other upper-level players. It's really important to keep your cool, but he's young, and it's just bound to happen. One thing I will say, though, and it's something that I don't think you're supposed to have happen, is having your cards facing multiple directions while you're playing. I know they're obviously much more lenient toward juniors, but just something to keep in mind. So he tries playing Rare Candy to Emboar, but can't, and this is because there's been an errata to Rare Candy since Black and White, where you can't play it until one turn has passed for your basic Pokemon. So he plays an Energy Search for Fire Energy, and shuffles up. And passes. Xander draws and evolves to Yanmega Prime. And he plays a Judge. So both players shuffle their hands into their decks and draw 4 cards. So I guess that one misplay of Owen trying to play the Rare Candy actually might have caused Xander to make this decision, because he knew that Owen had a strong hand, and by shuffling his hand back in, forcing him to draw 4, definitely going to cut out at least that really strong option of the turn 2 Emboar. Now, the one thing that it might hurt him with is maybe he'll be shut out of his own supporters, while Owen still has Ninetales, which can let you draw 3 cards for single fire energy. So he retreats the Zora to Yanmega, and does a Sonic Boom for 70 damage. Now, he's using Pokegym dice, and one thing about those dice that really confuses me is that the Pokeball side is a 6. So, even though you'd think that they'd use something like that for the 1 and keep the other side a 6, that's just what they do. So, it's a 6 and a 1 for 70 damage. He plays a Reshiram, attaches a double colorless to it, and passes. Plays down a Yanma, considers it, keeps down the Yanma. And plays another Judge. So back into the deck they go. One thing I noticed, and I don't know if this is the same of his last Judge or not, but it looks like he has the Professor Judges. They just have a little Pokeball logo, very much like the same logo that's on the dice. But I love the Professor Holo cards, but not particularly their dice. So both players draw 4, and this allows Xander to match hand sizes. Split them both at 4, and with another Sonic Boom, the Ninetales is down. So Owen throws up the Reshiram, and plays Interviewer's Questions, which lets you look at the top, I want to say it's either top 7 or top 10 cards, and you take all the energy cards that you find there. Yeah, I think it's top 7. Top 10 is Legend Box. So he shuffles the cards that he had back in his deck, and grabs, it looks like 2 Fire Energy. And looking at his hand, he's got a couple of Pignites that he can evolve, decides not to. Now, I don't know if this is because he's afraid of them being catchered with 3 retreat, or if he forgot just because he's extremely excited right now, but definitely something worth noting. Xander evolves to another Yanmega. And it looks like he settles for a Sonic Boom. So this could hurt him in that Reshiram can now Outrage and knock out his Yanmega with 2 damage counter on it already, but on the other hand, it puts Reshiram in knockout range of the next Yanmega, so it's not too bad of a sacrifice. So Owen now has Emboar, which he grabs with Professor Elm, and he can rare candy to it, so that leads me to think that he might have purposely not evolved into the Pignite. So he takes his Outrage knockout, and Xander's up. He drops Bouffalant and evolves to Zoroark. Zoroark will definitely help him in this matchup because you can Blue Flare for double colorless energy and not have to discard any of your own. And he takes the Sonic Boom prize. So now we're in kind of a prize exchange, and he decides to put up the Emboar. And looking at his hand, he doesn't really have any other attackers, so he might just have to be settling for doing whatever he can with Emboar, but he plays Professor Elm's training method, grabs a Ninetales, and he's probably going to try and roast reveal himself out of this one. Now, because of this, it's possible that he hits a Reshiram, or, yep, and there's a Reshiram right there, off of the roast reveal, which is why I probably would have led with probably the Vulpix. That way, you can retreat for 1 energy, or with the Ninetales after you evolve it, and retreat to a new attacker if you get one. Now, unfortunately, he's almost done some of the work that his opponent would want already for him by putting a 4 retreat Emboar active, which is your source for all your energy acceleration. So Xander plays a Professor Oak's New Theory, another Professor Hollow card, shuffles his hand in and draws 6. And Xander offers to cut. And here's your 6 cards. Now with Emboar active, it's just short of 2 Sonic Boom knockouts, but it's in the range of 2 attacks with Zoroark if he foul plays Emboar's attack for 80 damage. So I'm not sure, or he could do a combination in Sonic Boom once and then attack once with Zoroark for a complete 150, but for now, it looks like he just decided to pass. Couldn't match hand sizes and didn't want to bring up the Zoroark quite yet. And Owen's up. He finally does drop that Pignite and plays Professor Juniper, draws 7 cards. And looking at his hand, he's got plenty of fire energy, so he can definitely either retreat or attack with the Emboar that's active now. And with an energy retrieval, that's just 2 more into his hand. And Emboar's ability, Inferno Fandango, lets you attach as many fire energy as you like per turn, so with all these energy, he can either attack with Emboar, attach 4 and retreat, and bring up Reshiram, which is another reason why leading with the Ninetales would have saved him a lot of trouble, but with all the energy in play that he has, he's got plenty to bring up Reshiram and Blue Flare for a knockout. So he takes another prize, and they're tied 4-4, I think. Xander leads with Bouffalant, and plays Judge. Both players shuffle in and draw 4. And normally you'd think, well, why doesn't he bring up the Zoroark? He can deal that easy 120 damage, but I think what Xander's thinking is, well, first off, I don't think his deck runs any plus power, so Reshiram won't get knocked out by 120 with its 130 HP, but if he brings up Bouffalant and takes 1 swipe at Reshiram and then knocks him out with Zoroark afterwards, he's thinking that maybe he'll have a chance to preserve the Zoroark and use his attacks more afterwards instead of having it be knocked out right away and then him forcing to use Bouffalant as his attacker. So Owen plays another energy retrieval for 2 fires. Plays a Revive to likely bring back another Reshiram. Yep. Full Ala Reshiram is back. And with 2 more fires, he can attach 1 to the active Reshiram and outrage with it. Oh, and see, it's another thing that I think he oversaw, but he brings up. Okay, so he saw that he could outrage, but decided to attach both energies anyways. So normally you'd want to attach 1 energy to the active and 1 to the benched Reshiram. That way you can outrage for 2, and if you get knocked out, you don't lose all of those energies. But Xander settles for a knockout with Yanmega to pick up the damage that he did with Bouffalant, and Owen now throws up the Ninetales. Evolves to the other Emboar, drops some Tepigs, and he is completely out of fire energy now, and Xander has a little bit of breathing room to start catching up. I don't know if it's 3-3 or 2-3, but either way, he can definitely pull ahead here. He drops Oddish, the first one that we see today, and plays Pokemon Communication. Looks like he put a Jirachi back in for devolving Pokemon after the trainer lock's established. And grabs Gloom, almost deciding against it. Decides to grab a Yanma instead. And Owen cuts. And he attaches a Psychic Energy to Yanmega. Likely to match hand sizes. I think they're both at 2 now. And he goes for a linear attack on the benched Reshiram. I think his reasoning here is that if Owen ever brings up that Reshiram to attack with, then it can go down to an attack off the Zoroark. But seeing as he has no energy, he decides then to do another 4 on one of the benched Tepigs to take a prize next turn. Owen draws, and he just keeps on getting a shortage of energy, so it's back to Xander. And Xander takes a prize on that benched Tepig with a Snipe. Owen draws, and it's a fire, and he does Roast Reveal, discard to draw 3 cards, drops Reshiram, and plays Interviewer's Questions, so fishing for more energy here to work off of. And it looks like he grabs quite a few. There's 3 energy. And I don't think he had energy in his hand, so I don't know if he has enough to attack with the Reshiram with... Oh, yeah, he's only got 3, so he has to retreat Ninetales, and then he has 2 more that he can play. Just kidding, guys, he has a switch. So he switches, and he's got all 3 of those on the Reshiram. All 3 energy on Reshiram. And now he can start at least taking 1 knockout on the Yanmega. Now, once again, Owen's going to be completely out of energy after this, so he has to draw another one of his supporters to grab more energy or an energy retrieval to keep attacking, but looks like things are at 2-2 now. Pokemon Communication puts Vileplume back in. And Xander really only has the Zoroark to attack with, well, and Yanmega, but Zoroark can score a KO now that that Reshiram had 4 damage counter on it already. And he's got another one that he's starting to build. Decides to copycat and match hand sizes, or just draw new cards. And from here, things are definitely looking in Xander's favor. He knocks out Reshiram here with a Zoroark, and after that, Owen really needs to hit a lot more fire and just hope that he can get 2 blue flares in a row. So he brings up the Zoroark and blue flare for 120 without discarding anything, and he throws up Reshiram. He draws, and we see a Juniper, but counting the cards left in his deck, it looks like Owen would deck out if he played Juniper and lose that way. So he's forced to pass and wait until he finds ways to get more energy. Xander attaches Rescue Energy to Zoroark, which gives him another copy if that one ever does fall, and pretty wisely decides to Outrage with Foul Play instead of Blue Flare. That way, he can't knock out his Zoroark in return with his own Outrage, and he'd need 3 energy to Blue Flare to even knock out the Zoroark. So he passes, Xander takes the knockout. Owen shows that his last 2 prizes were energy, and it looked like he had an energy retrieval still left in the deck, but due to a couple of misplays by Owen and some smart playing by Xander, he wins and moves on to 4-0. So that was my first juniors match that I've ever recorded. Obviously, it's kind of easy to just go about and pick apart misplays that they make, but you have to consider they're really young and they're playing a very upper level game. So it's really impressive that they're still playing all the way through and, making some of these smarter decisions and deciding to tackle a game that requires a lot of math and a lot of thinking skills. And it's definitely just a lot of fun to watch anybody play, whatever age they are. Once again, thanks to Vince at Yeti Gaming for letting me record these matches, and tune in soon for the rest of them. I know I've been a little bit slow updating them, but I'm trying to finish up recording everything today. I'll release them every couple of days, and I'll eventually finally get back to getting some episodes of Profit out for you guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. Peace!